My income for 2020 was just over $5 million as a channel with 3 million subscribers.
Graham Stephan is a 32-year-old finance enthusiast, well known for his successful career as a real estate agent as well as his investments within real estate index funds, stocks and some other fishy ones, of which he has documented on over the past 5 years on his YouTube channel, which he has now grown to an overall YouTube finance monopoly. But is all what seems to be? Is Graham telling the truth about his path to wealth, or was it all one big lie? Born April 21, 1990, Graham grew up in Santa Monica, California as an only child. Throughout his childhood, Graham's parents lived paycheck to paycheck. The family weren't extremely well off, but not to the extent of being poor. They had a somewhat comfortable life, just without change to spare. During Graham's school days, he really became unmotivated by the work he got set. He lacked interest in what didn't seem to bring any real benefit to his life, especially in high school. He didn't want to study science and other compulsory subjects. Instead, he wanted to learn real-world answers. How can you actually make money? In the 9th grade, Graham got his first part-time job. It involved taking pictures of exotic fish and coral for a marine aquarium wholesaler. Every Tuesday and Thursday, he would spend 5 to 6 hours working around his school life. At this point in time, Graham made $1 for every picture he took, photoshopped, and put on the wholesaler's website. He hustled to the point where he was posting up to 30 pictures an hour, making an overall average of $120 in a night's work. He soon came to realize the opportunity cost of attending high school. He would see homework that took 3 hours to complete as a loss of $60 in not being able to work. As a result of his frustration, he refused to do any further homework and focused more of his time taking fish pictures for $1 at a time. When Graham turned 16, he then got his driving license. From here, his addiction to work and strive to earn only accelerated. At the time, he had an interest of becoming a voice actor, as well as his other career aspirations. So, he used this to his advantage. Graham would go to the extent of pretending to be his mom on the phone, phoning up his school just to say that Graham was sick and taking the day off. Meanwhile, he would leave his house and his car pretending to go to school. Meanwhile, he was actually on the hustle for his exotic fish pictures. At 17, he then grew his employment role by becoming a moderator for 2 online forums for reef aquariums. He was well and truly captivated by the hustle. Despite his lack of effort in school with a GPA of 2, both his parents and himself having no money,
someone has to flip the burgers, dumbass.
He applied to Pepperdine with high hopes of retaining a place at his only choice of college. The day soon came around where he found out if he had got into college, and he chose to spend it at Disneyland with his girlfriend at the time. And while eating into a dessert in a restaurant, he opened the email from the college to find out that he didn't get in. In that moment, he realized what had just happened. Due to his plan of simply not failing and aiming for a D on all his work throughout high school, it resulted in Graham not getting accepted to any colleges, despite not only his desire to have always wanted to go, but the high expectations from his family, whom they had all gone to college, and now had an only child that didn't follow in their footsteps. At this point in his life, he felt like he was screwed, had no direction, no purpose, and was a complete failure to himself and his family. One day, by chance, Graham came across a bookstore. In the front, a book featured bestseller was displayed, that book being The 4-Hour Workweek. After giving it some thought, Graham took the book home and began reading. As he read, he realized how much he could relate his current life to this book. 3 days later, and he had read the whole thing. To his discovery by chance, he had now figured out what he wanted in life: to not have to work for others and be his own boss. Not long after this, he was watching Bravo and a commercial came on for $1 Million Listing Season 2, a series dedicated to successful individuals selling luxury real estate in their 20s, to which Graham found was in his hometown state, being LA, California. And it was from the 30-second commercial he knew he wanted to sell real estate. After seeking the process to get a real estate license, he found that you not only just had to do some short training sessions and an online test, but the job didn't require a degree. And so he persuaded his pro-college parents that he'd like to take 1 year out of attempts at college to get work experience and then eventually go to college the following year. At 18 years old, Graham got his real estate license and starting working as a real estate agent, and soon after, he came to love the business. At the time, Graham was worth approximately $5,000. This is what he had saved up from his previous work at the marine aquarium wholesaler. He met a suitable mentor within real estate who advised Graham that he was in the best possible situation at the time. No kids, no wife, no responsibilities. Just learn the business. Work for at least 4 years so that when Graham's friends graduated from college, he would already be earning a level of over $100,000 a year. This individual then led to making an offer with Graham. He took him under his wing as a mentor, taught him everything he knew about the art of real estate, and split everything 50-50. 2 days post this offer, Graham was working for him. Soon into Graham's new role, he found his niche. Not many real estate agents focused on leased properties, as it meant small commissions, but this was a lot to Graham. He noticed that his colleagues had listing with extremely bad photos, so he offered to use his previous photography skills to try improve the listing on Craigslist. This was beneficial as it led to exposure of Graham to potential tenants, and his colleagues got improved listings on their properties from Graham being the one to relist them. He did this method over and over, which inevitably led to more calls, more leasing, and more opportunity in his work. He started off by earning not that much. In the beginning, he was making an average of $500 to $700 per month, working 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. To Graham, it didn't feel like work. He enjoyed selling the million-dollar luxury houses within Louisiana, that he did it for fun. This was completely new to him, and was confusing to him as to how and why is it a legitimate career. After working like this for 8 months, he made roughly $16,000 primarily through small projects within his field. Not long after, the time came around where Graham would go on to attend college. It was at this point something changed the course of his career and possibly even his life forever. One day, Graham was sitting in an open house at his firm and a new home buyer came through the door. This buyer was in the interest of purchasing a $3 million home in Beverly Hills, and this sale fell into the palms of 18-year-old Graham. From this, he made a commission of approximately $44,000. After this, Graham realized that by even just one sale, he could make more than he ever dreamed of, even after college, and that anyone can make enough money without a college degree. So from that moment, he decided to not go to college and continue working as a real estate agent. Of course, his parents didn't approve, so he promised them that he'd work for only one more year just to win them over. Just over 1 month later, Graham then sold another home, again in Beverly Hills, but this time now for $1.2 million. And from that, he never looked back at college, and his parents were no longer on his case, and to this day, he still believes that it was the best thing that has ever happened to him. By his third year selling luxury real estate, Graham was making over $100,000 per year, to which he focused on saving as much as possible. By 2011, Graham was 21 when he was then worth $200,000. At this time, he noticed the market for real estate was cheap, almost too cheap so that it was undervalued. His income was good but not consistent, so he decided to get into rental property. Graham then started looking into an area known as San Bernardino. This led him to buying his first property for $60,000 in cash, all being the age of just 21. However, even despite it being listed as one house, he got 3 properties, 3 for the price of one. After renting these out, it then paid the base of his living expenses, of which was roughly $3,000. Then, his previous lease clients came back to him, wanting to now purchase a property, where he saw roughly 1 in 6 of his clients purchasing a new home, which inevitably led to a large amount of sales. In 2013, Graham's work was booming, and it was at this point he came across a Roth IRA and a 401k. So he chose to start putting money aside, maxing out his accounts, focusing just on the S&P 500. With these investments now on the rise and business improving year over year, he truly started to notice the snowball effect taking place. By 2016, Graham saw massive potential in areas such as Marina del Rey and Venice, California. He then bought another property for $800,000 and chose to renovate it. By 2017, that property was then worth $1.2 million, and so Graham bought another property, this time being a duplex for $650,000. Shortly after purchasing and some minor renovation, the property rose in value to $850,000. Overall, by age 26, just 9 years from getting his real estate license, Graham Stephan became a millionaire. Since this, he's been able to further fund his investments through his YouTube channels, podcast, and his current business. But it is fair to say that overall, Graham's journey to creating wealth is truly inspiring, and hopefully anyone from his audience or watching this may follow in his footsteps.